November. Can't you believe we're just less than 2 months away from the end of another decade? The whole year just seems to go by in a blink. If I'm to measure my days in pages of books, I think November would be the longest month with 4,756 pages read in total. This is quite unexpected, as at work, October usually marks the beginning of the busy year-end period, and we have tons of content and events to run until the first quarter of the following year. I was worried that my reading would slow down significantly during this month, but it turned out I was worried over nothing. It seems like the more work I have, the more satisfying it feels to escape between the pages every day after 6 p.m. By the way, how was your Halloween celebration? What's your costume? We enjoyed a fun and spooky Halloween show put on by members of our company. As a chronic procrastinator when it comes to all costume parties, when the big day arrives, I decide to go low maintenance as street ninja, which, if you've been to Vietnam, is our everyday motorbiking outfit to combat the tropical heat and dust. All you need is a pair of dark sunglasses, a face mask, not the creepy kind, and a hoodie. And there you have it, Vietnamese street ninja costume. And just when I was still clapping my back for a resourceful idea of a costume, my colleagues decided to put me on the judging panel for the Halloween scary show, meaning I have to put on proper costume. That's when my precious Gryffindor souvenirs that my friends gave me came to my rescue. With a red and gold scarf and a time turner necklace and a stack of books, I turned into a much older Vietnamese version of Hermione. Speaking of Halloween, back to the beginning of October, I noticed that lots of reading groups on Facebook were sharing their horror reading list for a spectacular month. Chicken that I am, I try to keep myself away from such marathon. When I looked at Steven Chbosky's new release, Imaginary Friend, I thought that maybe this could be my Halloween read. After all, if I'm to be scared on Halloween, it should come from my favorite author. And, well, let me tell you this. I never ever want to be this scared by any author again, period. And I already got rid of all the plastic bags around the house. You know what I mean when you read the book. But don't say I didn't warn you though. Speaking of new books from favorite authors, I completed the last 2 books from Fredrik Backman, and Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer is a novella about a boy and his grandpa who is suffering from Alzheimer's. Yes, you need tissues, and no, it's not recommended to read in public unless you're okay with crying uncontrollably. The next and last of Backman's list is a collection of his essays on fatherhood, and I think it's the only Backman book that does not make you cry. In fact, I enjoy his honest account of navigating fatherhood and struggling to balance social expectations with his own shortcomings. I already started recommending this book for my reading friends who are entering parenthood. On the same topic of parenthood, I also read The Montessori Toddler by Simone Davis. As I recently become an aunt a little more than 2 years ago, I take my auntyhood very seriously, and if you see my adorable nephew, you know why. Despite the half-the-world distance between us, and thanks to FaceTime and his parents and grandma's constant reminder, he now knows that I'm more than just his Amazon personal shopper. And as his auntie, I really want to understand him better, especially in his toddler years. So that's why I started a reading list on child psychology and education method. This book is such a perfect guide for parents of toddlers, as it's filled with practical tips and explanations, and even with diagrams and illustrations. You can read it from front to back or pick out any chapter relevant to your needs, like setting up a playroom, starting school, potty training, and even taking care of yourself as parents. While we're still on the topic of parenting, the next book on my October reading list is Educated, a memoir by Tara Westover, which I may say is one of the best nonfictions I've read so far this year. Born to survivalist parents in the mountains of Idaho, Tara spent her entire childhood and teenage years preparing for the end of the world. Her father forbade public school and even hospital. It was not until the age of 17 that she set foot in a classroom for the first time, and thus began her journey to self-invention. My next book, A False Report A True Story of Rape in America by T. Christian Miller and Ken Armstrong is an exceptional work of investigative journalism. I read this almost right after finishing Malcolm Gladwell's latest book, Talking to Strangers, and couldn't help but notice how the transparency myth played out in the case of Marie, the teenager whose story of rape was dismissed by not only the police detectives, but also by her own foster mother. While focusing on the investigation, the authors also provided insightful data and research on how victims of rape cases have been treated, processed, and even falsely trialed. The last book on my nonfiction list is from my favorite TV actress and comedian Betty White. I love her since The Golden Girls and Hot in Cleveland. I didn't know that she wrote 8 books, and it's such a delight to listen to Betty White narrating this book. Now we've come to the fiction list. The sickest book I read in October, no doubt, is Gone with the Wind. When I looked at the number of pages, 1037 by the way, I nearly fainted, but I quickly steeled myself for the challenge. After all, I had been able to complete this book when I was 13, even though I read in Vietnamese, so there's no way that 24 years later I could fail. Oh, what a journey. I soon totally forgot about the number of pages and just enjoyed being transported back in time and watching Scarlett's life and her world playing vividly in front of my eyes. My next 2 books are about the Second World War and took me from occupied Poland to Germany and Cuba as the characters fought for their survival. Yes, again, you need tissues for both of these books. Lastly, I absolutely adore these 2 books adapting from Greek mythology. To all the readers on Facebook groups who recommended the Song of Achilles, thank you! I've always been fascinated by Greek mythology, and what a feast it was to be immersed in the land of ancient Greece with the heroes, the gods, the mortals, and their fight for peace and glory, eternal fame, and human heart. Both the Song of Achilles and Circe are such profoundly moving texts on classical tales that I would 100% recommend. And this ends the list of 12 books I read in October. My total count of 2019 so far is 87 books, which leaves me with just 13 books to go for the next 2 months to complete my 100 books a year challenge. We'll see how far I go. This November, I'll finish Radical Candor, recommended by a former colleague, someone who totally gets my geekiness. I'm 3 chapters into the book and already had multiple wow moments. My next 2 books are last on my list about Second World War. And for a more contemporary novel, I finally managed to get Louise Penny's A Better Man after like 100 days of waiting. I'll share with you all the rest in my next monthly book review video. How about you? What was your October reading like? Did you join any scary Halloween reading marathon? And what are you looking forward to reading in November? Please share with me in the comment section. And here's the usual details on how we can stay connected in this reading circle. I look forward to connecting with you on my Goodreads or email or even here on my YouTube channel. Goodbye and have a great November.